Hello, everyone. My name is Janessa. I am the Operations Director for the Student for Students Network.
My name is Jimena Fernandez, and I am the Student Communications Director who will also be partaking in this interview, and we'll hand it over to the counselor.
Hello, everybody. My name is Cesar or Cesar. I answer to both. And I am an admissions counselor at CSU Channel Islands. Welcome.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. We're just going to run through a bunch of questions, and if you can just answer to help out students, because we know that the college admissions process is definitely one that it's very intricate and very complex. And so we'd like to just, I guess, start off with some questions. So I know Jimena will start it off.
Absolutely. So please let us know whether you can answer these questions or not, and we'll go from there. So for our first question, what simple mistakes are commonly made on the applications you review?
All right, good question. So one of the most common mistakes I see on my end, just a quick background, I'm also part evaluator. So I'm actually the one evaluating these transcripts. So you'll know that this is a good source, hopefully. But I noticed that some students, sometimes they forget to report some classes on the Cal State Apply application for whatever reason, right? And so what ends up happening is when we're evaluating those applications, we assume you're not meeting a requirement and they get denied by mistake, right? Luckily, we have an appeals process in the CSU campuses where you can pretty much say, hey, sorry, that was a mistake. Here's my transcript. And we'll more than likely reconsider admission if that's the case. So I always tell students, take your time. Have your unofficial transcript in front of you. Make sure that you are reporting every single course that you've completed at your high schools into the Cal State Apply application so that you're making sure you're reporting that you are meeting our admission requirements. Another mistake that they make on the application, I would say making sure that their home addresses are correct. That's sometimes they may forget to add an apartment number or a space number, whatever the case. And so what happens is our letters, those awesome admissions letters, and sometimes free stuff, by the way, that we mail out to you, they get bounced back because either the mail person can't find it or whatever the case. So make sure that the students make sure you are reporting your address correctly because we want you to get that awesome news in the mail. And any news, of course, right? You want to know how your status is and what your status is with our campus. So I think those are the top two mistakes that I see on the application.
Thank you. And so in your opinion, will this make the process like more or less competitive? I know that you did mention like an appeals process, so do you think that sort of helps make it like less competitive?
I would say so because if say it was just an easy mistake as forgetting to report a semester of, let's say, English, you can submit an appeal and submit an unofficial transcript or an official, depending on the admissions office procedures. And we'll note that, okay, it looks like you just forgot to report it. There's the proof that you did complete it or will complete it if it's an in-progress work or planned. And we will go pretty much reverse our decision based on that. If that was the case of why they were denied. So it does help. So it puts them back on track, right? You're back in the admissions track. We'll working with you now. We'll see you in the fall, hopefully, and hopefully everything runs smoothly after that. So the appeals process does help with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And when does the CSU application cycle open?
The CSU application cycle opens on October 1st of 2021 for fall 2022 admissions. So you're applying almost a year in advance. And it closes on November 30th. However, some campuses are extending the deadline, such as CSU Channel Islands. We're extending it through December 15 for our non-impacted majors. So we only have two impacted majors. That's nursing and mechatronics. So the application deadline is November 30th for those programs. Nursing is just for transfer students, though, so I should probably disregard that. Otherwise, we're open through December 15th. If you want to make sure when the application closes for that CSU campus that you're interested in, I recommend visiting that CSU's website, or you can also connect with me as well, and I'll let you know what the deadline for that campus is. But it opens October 1st of this year.
Yes, October 1st.
So
Okay,
next
thank
month.
you. Yes, exactly. So the next question, as far as like you mentioned impacted majors, and so what advice would you offer to students who are actually unsure of their prospective career paths or majors?
Yeah, right away, it doesn't hurt to research the majors that we offer on campus, on our campuses, excuse me. In most cases, we provide information on career objectives, what kind of careers those students typically have follow based on that major. Also, I'd like to say, hey, your career centers at your high schools are a great resource. I visit those often when I'm visiting high schools. I'm actually giving out presentations there, and I see the counselors on action and all the great sources that they have readily available, the stuff that they have in the walls, or just they have a wealth of information. Stop by and have a chat and say, you know what, I'm not sure how can I explore what's out there? Or are there any maybe field trips coming up that you can recommend me if they offer that at your high school? Have you heard of any employers or anything like that? Just to get, even if it's not something that you're gonna decide on right away, at least it gets your brain flowing of like, wow, this is a job. And then your career counselors can maybe connect you with a major or a representative like me and help you get started on that career. Talk to your professors, your teachers, your coaches, your club advisors. They're you know they're there for that reason to help you succeed past high school as well, right? So don't think like you're bugging them or asking weird questions. Just pick their brain. Ask them, hey, what was your major? Or what was your dream job? And why did you pick that major? Were you studying to become something else, or did you want to truly become a high school teacher or whatever, counselor or coach, right? Again, don't see it as like, oh, this one person may help me decide my career path right now. It could happen. If it does, that's awesome. If it doesn't, at least it gets your juices flowing, right? Like, okay, cool. There's options for me out there. This sounds interesting. That doesn't. And hopefully that helps you decide. Just asking around and poking your brain, poking around in the websites, that should help. So yeah, hopefully that those are some good sources. At least that's what helped me, just asking around what's out there.
Thank you. Yeah, no, true.
Excellent advice. So, do you, as a counselor, when reviewing applications or advising, do you value spikes or specialized skills in a student's application?
So as a CSU application, we actually do not require for students to submit extracurricular activities or statement of purpose or even letters of recommendation. So for that question, I kind of want to say no,
Hmm.
because we're only going to strictly look at your academic record, your high school coursework, right? Your grades that you've received, your A through Gs, your GPA. However, as a person, I do value that because that will help you out, with maybe other systems that you're applying for. If you're applying for UCs or maybe a private university, or again, helping you decide on a career objective. All those extracurricular activities are great for that because it gets you prepared for any career and at the same time, again, gets that brain flowing if it's something that I want to do after I graduate.
Yes, totally agree. Oh my gosh. So the next question that we have is, I guess, how are CSU applications weighed? So we know that for like UC applications, some schools do like a holistic review, and then the other schools do like very different reviews. But we wanted to know like how do CSUs like weigh the applications and if they like hold extra, not if they hold like grades and like something else of the same I guess caliber. But yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to think we keep it somewhat simple. Maybe it's simple for me because I see it every day. But so for us, yeah, like you said, UCs do look at students holistically. We again just look at your academic record strictly. So we want your A through G 15 unit pattern to be completed at minimum. Some CSUs may require more, depending on their impacted status or whatever the case, but at least have the minimum for across the board. Our GPA requirement is 2.5. And the way we calculate GPA is we're looking at your sophomore, junior, and senior year A through Gs. Of course, we're still going to look at your freshman courses for A through Gs, but for GPA calculation, again, sophomore, junior, senior, we give you an extra point for every additional AP class or honors class with the C minus or better. So that helps students out a little bit as well. And then of course have a high school diploma by high school graduation by the end of spring semesters. Uh, and those are pretty much the big ones. Meet those three groups, and you should be considered admissible. Like I said, there's some CSUs where they may require higher GPA requirements. um, just because they're simply impacted, and that's the way that they can choose their top class, so to speak. But for the most part, those are the minimum admission requirements and how we calculate GPA. I hope that helps answer your
No,
question.
yeah, thank you. That does.
Thanks. So, are all CSU acceptances on a first come, first served basis?
No. So, no, as long as you apply by the specified deadline, again, either November 30th or let's say December 15th for us, let's say November 30th across the board. There is no, I mean, there's no, we don't pay attention of how early they applied or not. It all comes down to those courses that I just mentioned, those requirements. We really care as long as you apply by the deadline. That's awesome. We're not going to look at how early you applied, or that doesn't give you extra points, unfortunately. I wish it did, because some of us are early birds. But no, there's no first come first served basis for us.
Thank you. Okay. So the next question that we have, and maybe this can vary depending on like the admissions counselor, but we kind of wanted to know and we're very intrigued, just so students know like I guess the sort of path to take, because I feel like sometimes this is a very controversial thing as far as like students. And it's the fact that it's like, is it better to take CP classes and get really high grades, or is it better to take AP classes, higher level classes, and get relatively like lower grades?
That's a good question. So I feel like it depends on the amount of college prep course CP grades and the amount of AP grades. So like I mentioned, if it helps, like I mentioned earlier, we do give an additional grade point, like 1 point per AP class that the student took if it was passed with the C minus or better. Um, I just lost my train of thought. But oh yeah, that's where I was going. But there's only a max of 8 points that we can give you. So like say if you took 12 or 15, you're not gonna get 15 points automatically. You only get up to 8 points. So um however, a C minus to me, like that's still a C minus. We're still, if you get a lot of C's, your GPA might still be low, right? So you want to be careful. And we do what we it could make a difference, I would say. You might, I've seen it where you might fall under that 2.5 GPA, or you took a repeated class and you got a D in the original class, and then you took a completely different class and got a C, so that lowers it to. So um, that's a good question because it depends. I think it would be different per student. I think students shouldn't be caught up on, oh my God, I need to like really take more APs or take more honors, or oh my God, my application is going to look bad because I took nothing but college prep courses. I think as long as you're rocking it, regardless, if you're getting like really high grades as possible, right? You should be good. And I wouldn't say to pay too much attention on that, because at the end of the day, we just want you to complete your A through G's and make sure pass them with the C minus or better. The higher the grades, of course, the better. Especially if you're going into an impacted campus, right? You want a really high GPA. But um, yeah, thank you for that question. I think I would say don't worry too much about it. It's every student is different too. Everybody receives different grades, so it's hard to say. You
Yeah.
know, there's no one way cookie pattern or whatever however that saying goes to say like, oh, if you take this many APs, you're in, because you still need to have a good grade on those classes as well.
Yes,
So,
thank you for that.
again,
No.
I hope that answers
No,
that.
it does. Yeah, I think sometimes people try and think that like this college admissions process is just like there's only one correct path to like succeed in, which in reality it's not. Like there's so many ways and so many schools that you can go to that you can succeed in, so many paths that you can take. So thank you. No, it did answer the question.
Yeah, I think some other systems may pay to more closely on that, and that's maybe where that mindset comes from, at least from my personal knowledge. And that's what I love about the CSUs, that we're not like that. We're almost like, no, let's get you in somehow. We're gonna get you in. So, like you said, if we have this option here, if there's other systems that are kind of the other way around. So,
Thank
and we offer
you.
the same degrees and the same programs, so why not?
Thank you. Thank you.
So we really want to ask you, what are your top 3 application tips for students?
Ooh, only three? Just kidding.
All of them,
Um,
as many as you have.
yeah, top three application tips. Number one, I would say keep track of deadlines. They're not suggestions, they're deadlines. They're there. And if you meet them, awesome. You're in the right track of starting with us either in the fall semesters. Because I've seen it happen. Some students may not pay too much attention to it, although like they'll pencil it in and not, just keeping out of sight, out of mind. And it does happen if you don't meet a certain deadline for whatever reason, we may withdraw your application because we assume, okay, maybe you're not going to come after all. You decided to go somewhere else. So be careful with dates and deadlines. Number two, top three application tips. So I already mentioned earlier, make sure you report every single class that you've completed. That's important, right? But since I already mentioned that, that's kind of cheating. I want to pick more tips here. Let's see. Um, don't be afraid to ask questions. I know that's not really an application thing, but it's related. If you're not sure about something on your application, what is this question? Or I took this class 3 times. How should I report this? Or I went to 3 different high schools, right? What high school do I report, or do I report all three? Whatever the question is, or one is out of state, some special case, or whatever question. Don't be afraid to ask us questions, our admissions representatives. We truly are here to help. You really are not bugging. We actually love being asked questions. I personally love it. Yeah, like I'm helping, but at the same time, it makes us feel like, okay, you're gonna for sure get in because you're gonna do what we're expecting you to do, so to speak. So, and then number three, application tips. Ooh, man, I think those will probably be my top ones. Make sure you fill out personal information correctly. I already mentioned that. And yeah, I think those will be my top ones. I think it's 2.5 or 3, right? I threw
Yeah,
in
thank you.
the don't forget to report classes tip. So
Yes, thank you. So the next question we have is, what would you say to someone who is, I guess, unable, the term, like I use that term loosely, or hold on to it loosely, because um what would you say to someone who is unable to attend college because they do not have the financial means to do so? And like I said, unable, that word, I guess, loosely, because I feel like everyone can go to college and anyone can go no matter what. There's so many resources out there, so many scholarships out there that can help you. But of course, some people think like, no, I'm unable to go. So what resources, or what would you say to someone who sort of has that mentality of the fact that they can't go?
yeah, so I would remind, like you said, is there's a lot of free money out there that you may not realize. And sometimes all it takes is filling out one simple application. Just for example, the FAFSA application, I forget what it stands for all the time. Federal application for federal student, free application
Yes,
for federal
yes,
student aid. There we go.
yes.
The FAFSA or the California Dream Act. It's free, like it's in the name. Yes, it's scary to report all this like financial information. What the heck? But it's super confidential. And that's almost like the number one step to see what you qualify for, because you'd be surprised. It could be as little as $500, but sometimes those $500 make a difference, right? Or
Yeah.
it can be a full on like, I mean, I was one of those I'm blessed to say that I was one of those students. I got enough grant money's money. I didn't have to pay back. It came from the government because I was a student. I qualified and I paid for my tuition. I paid for everything. So I was kind of going to school for free. And I like this question because I can relate to that. I remember having that thought of like, okay, I've decided I want to go to school, but how am I going to pay for it? And I can understand that it's discouraging, right? Because yeah, it is expensive. Some of these campuses, the CSUs, were one of the cheapest systems out there, those. But I would say, research as much as possible how to apply for financial aid. Connect with the financial aid office. You'd be surprised how many are there to help. Janessa, you mentioned scholarships. There's scholarships available too. Sometimes it takes a little bit extra work, right? There's like essays you need to submit. Oh, I need to find someone for letters of recommendation, but it's free money. It's like worth it. Sometimes these scholarships, I remember again visiting a career center because I like to snoop around when I'm there because it helps students too. I remember seeing the scholarship once that Burger King was offering, and it was like, oh, if you're applying to a public institution, hello us. If you are have a 2.5 GPA or higher or something, it was super simple and a statement of purpose of why you want to pursue your degree. And I remember thinking like, wait, you don't even have to work there and they're giving you free money? Like that's awesome. So it's stuff like that, right? It's just again poking your head around and asking around what kind of scholarships are out there. Yes, it sucks to have another free report to write, but I think that Burger King scholarship was like a good $5,000, I would say. So that easily pays for a semester at a CSU. CSU's cost about 3,200 or something per semester if you're enrolled in, let's say, two or more classes. So, hey, you're paying for classes, you're paying for your tuition, excuse me. Maybe have some left over for maybe room and board if you're paying to live on campus, or personal money like transportation for my carrito, or take the bus, or what transportation ever I need, or help out at home, or feed myself, or pay for my books. So, it's stuff like that. I would say still apply for financial aid even if you don't think you're going to qualify, because there's a lot of free money out there. There's also student employment where you can work on campus and get paid just like any other job. You get a check. What's great about those jobs is they work around your school schedule, so you're not fighting with your boss like I have school or stuff like that. They're willing to work around your schedule and you get money. There you go. You're paying for tuition that way, or your books, whatever. And there's federal student aid as well that works the same way. um Gosh. And then of course there are loan options, where you can take out a loan and you eventually do pay back with interest. I know that's not a fun thing to take on, and I get it. My stomach turns when I think about those things, but it's an option, right? It's something, and hopefully you don't have to take out as much if it gets to that point, because you have all these other incomes coming in. But long explanation short, there's a lot of free money. Please don't get discouraged. If you have more questions, I know that the CSU or your college career counselors, they're always hosting workshops. Look out, keep an ear out for those. Hey, is there a workshop or is there a financial aid representative coming by to talk about that? If your parents have questions, like I know our website at CSU Channel Islands, we have a financial aid page, has a bunch of videos. It's perfect for a student who doesn't know anything about financial aid, who wants to learn more about, tell me more about that grant, Cesar, that you just talked about, or how do I apply for that? And there's information in Spanish as well. If your parents don't know how to read English, that's great, because I know parents have a lot of questions because, of course, well, how does this work? What do you mean there's free money? So, you know, if you're still questioning about it, continue to ask questions. They're there to help. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm passionate about that, because it's like, no, don't get discouraged, because there is a lot of free money, and it's thankful to those programs that like someone like me was able to go to college, and that wasn't a barrier at that point for me. So
Yes, totally agree. I feel like that's what our network is really about, is like not saying no to college because you think that, you're unable to attend. And that's what we want to do. We want to show people that there are scholarships and all these things out there. And so thank
yes,
you for your tips. Thank you.
yeah,
Yes, thank you. I think this information is so useful to a lot of people, and I think that it's going to be great to have them watch this and see that there are so many options available.
awesome.
Yes.
So we have another question. So we do know that a lot of students decide to go to community college and then transfer into another university, a four-year usually. And so we just wanted to ask, what are the advantages and disadvantages of going to community college and then transferring after 2 years?
Yeah, so, and I forgot to mention, that's another way of, if you're worried about the financial barrier, attending at a community college is much cheaper than a four-year university. So that's another option, right? So thank you for reminding me about that. But disadvantages and advantages. So I think there's way more advantages than disadvantages. The only disadvantage that I can think of is not keeping track with your graduation requirements, and therefore prolonging your pathway at a community college, staying there for multiple years and never really transferring out, right? That's the only disadvantage. And it's almost something that it shouldn't happen, because you'll find that community colleges help out a lot. There's a lot of people that are there willing to help you, to want you to graduate. They want you out, not because they don't love you, but because they want you to proceed and not take too long to get your degree. Uh, I would say that's the only disadvantage I can think of, honestly. There's a lot of more, there's good advantages as well for community college. One of them is the cost, right? It's cheaper. Also, it's great for someone who maybe still doesn't know where they want to attend and don't want to make that big financial how do you say, obligation on a question mark, right? Like I feel like you shouldn't do that. You're gonna maybe not succeed well. That's just my opinion. Maybe you will, but and I think that's something that I'm talking of personal experience. I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school, so community college was right for me. It's like, okay, it was a great place for me to just think about what I want to do, but at the same time, I'm working on college credits. That's another advantage. You're earning the same credits that you're gonna take here at the CSU or UC or a private institution. Um, I think those would be the top two I can think of. There's a lot of great resources. Oh, it's close to home if you're still not ready to live far away. I know I wasn't, so it was nice that I went to Oxford College, so it's my backyard, a nice 7-minute drive from home. Like this is beautiful. So that was nice. Like I said, same services that you are offered at the four-year university are offered there. Counseling, there's a transfer center, a lot of people rooting there for you. Your professors are getting that same degree. I think the other maybe disadvantage is some students want that for those that want that four-year university straight out of high school, you may not get it there, obviously. It is somewhat of a quieter environment. Although when I visit community colleges, I'm like, oh no, they're providing that same student life that we have here. Like I'm like, it feels no different now. But I know some students want that. They want to live on campus. I'm sure there's some community colleges that have on-campus housing. Don't quote me on that, but I think I've heard. At least the ones I'm local here, I they don't have any, but I think there's some out there. But anywho, that might be a disadvantage, right? Someone that wants to live on campus and like literally walk to class, have that fun experience. But I think, like I said, there's no right or wrong pathway. I think that's going back to that other point of like, hey, if you have to go to community college route, please don't feel discouraged. I know there's that misconception of like, oh, junior college. Like, don't listen to that. It's still the same. You're still getting the same degree, same courses, and you're gonna transfer to a four-year university. You're not seen differently because you're a transfer student. We still welcome you. Like, heck yeah, come. We want you to get your bachelor's degree. It's just, everyone has their own pathways. So, like I said, there's way more advantages than disadvantages. Not to say that one is better than the other, of course. I'm not saying, hey, this one's better than this one. Ultimately, it's whatever works best for you. That's the best pathway, right? Whatever works best for you at that moment.
Exactly, totally agree. Thank you. So October 1st, we know it's an important date, and so what should students be doing right now, or is there something students should be doing right now to prepare for October 1st and for CSU application season?
Yes, so there's a couple of things that come to mind. If you can meet with the admissions reps like us, we're connecting with your high schools already. I came from well, actually I came from a community college today, but I visited a high school yesterday, so we're on the road, so to speak, either online or actually on site. And I say that because it helps you do um that goes to my point of like, I was going to say, do the research, like visit the websites, visit the campuses that you'd like to attend, or just, hey, reach out to us. We'll do the research for you, so to speak, and tell you why you should attend our campus. Or, like I said, visit your career college center and then visit us when we're doing a presentation. The reason why I say that is I want you all to hopefully be ready to know which campus you want to apply for when you're filling out the application. That way it's less time consuming and you feel a little bit more ready, right? If you're still not sure, that's totally normal. Like application, you have what, 2 months, right? So still connect with us. If you still have that one last minute question, like, you know what, Cesar, I'm not sure. Like, can you tell me more about your, I don't know, biology program? Or, hey, I know you mentioned nursing. How does that work? Before I apply, how does that work? I need to know. And that's totally normal. We don't, I always joke, I don't pay commission. I'm not gonna like, hey, you're in, you're gonna apply. Like, it's okay if you still don't decide to come in with us. We as a CSU, we work very closely together as well. So if you have other questions about another CSU, we're not going to be like, hey, don't go there. No, like, no, hey, go to that campus if that's the right pathway for you. So yeah, so ask questions, research, gather your unofficial transcripts if you can as of now. That way it's ready by October 1st, because that date's coming up, right? That's next week, next Saturday, I think, right? Next Friday. Had to look at my calendar there. So, and I know counselors right now may be busy pulling up transcripts for other students, so that's why I say do it, maybe do it now. They're more than happy to help you, trust me. At least the counselors that I connect with, they're like super awesome. You're not bugging them. They're excited that you're visiting their center, by the way. They love that you're gonna hang out and eat lunch and be surrounded by like all this knowledge. So gather your transcripts. Um, Trying to think. Making sure that so it is all done electronically. So if you don't have access to a computer at home, find out where you can apply. Again, your college career centers, I've seen computers there all the time. It may look differently now because of COVID, which breaks my heart because I see like, oh, you can't sit here, so that's less computers right available. But hey, maybe you can schedule an appointment to fill out the application. They host application workshops a lot of the high schools that I visit. So if you still need more help with that, attend one of those. You more than likely will see me or another CSU rep helping out. So hey, like you have questions, you're getting the help from the source, so to speak, right? So but if the career center doesn't work out, visit maybe a local library, find out where you can apply, because unfortunately we do not offer paper copies anymore of these applications. So or if worse comes to worse, connect with the CSU that you're applying to. They may have access to computers. Again, it's different now that we're in COVID times where we can't have that many visitors at once, but it doesn't hurt to ask. If anything, we'll know where to connect you. Like, oh yeah, you know, go to this center. There's a computer there. So yeah, so prepare for that, and also block some time because it is a lengthy application. So we say it takes about 2 hours because you're reporting every single class that you took in at high school. It may take less, but we want you to take breaks and all because it is a lengthy application. So plan for that. Um, I would say those are the top ones to prepare for, because like I said, we're not asking for letters of recommendation. We're not asking for a statement of purpose. So no worries on trying to prepare for that for the CSUs. We're not asking for extracurricular activities, so no worries on trying to maybe clean up a resume or anything like that. It's all, coursework. Talk to your parents as well in case, because there is a financial questionnaire there that asks for information from parental financial, like gross income and stuff like that, all this yucky tech stuff. So connect with them in advance in case they need to pull up their records, right? Take it out of the whatever bin they have it on and have that ready for you. But otherwise, as you can see, is not a lot of preparation, just little things here and there that you need to keep mind of. And then double check on the application deadlines. Double check just in case, right? You never know.
Yes, thank you, thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of taking necessary precautions, so if a student happens to make a mistake on their application, they submit too early, or they realize they didn't fill it out correctly, or just something that they did incorrectly, who can they contact to remedy that, to fix that, to do something about it?
Yeah, I'm gonna recommend to connect with the CSU that you're interested in applying for, because we may unfortunately may do it differently for those type of situations. For us, if you're denied because of that, if you forgot to report something, then like I said, an appeals process will fix that issue. Or if you're not denied and say you just maybe you're adding another class or you're switching a class, right? Or whatever, you simply just forgot to report that extra elective in the senior year, whatever the case. So you're more than welcome to email, like I said, for our campus, you can email me if you'd like. And I'm more than likely gonna say it's okay. We're gonna see that update when we receive your transcripts in the summer. So no worries, don't need to log in. But the reason why I say check in with your CSU office is because they may require for students to log in back into the CalState Apply and fill it out and then resubmit. So it depends on the campus. So, but it doesn't hurt to, just email that admissions email or call, or connect with the CSU admissions representative. And I'm available if you don't know who to connect with at another CSU. I'm more than happy to connect you with that office. I more than likely know the person, or I know more than likely know who to connect it with for that question. So I
Yes.
guess short answer is contact me. I'll help you out with how to figure that out.
And that leads us into our next question is like, do you have a contact? Who can students contact? You said you, so we would definitely love to share your email or any, I guess, contact info so we can share it with students.
Yes, feel free to contact me. I'm trying to pull up a slide if that's probably helpful, where I have my contact information. Happy to be your resource because as a CSU representative. Yes, my uniform is CI. Yes, you can see my banner there, CSU Channel Islands. But I truly, most of us also work as CSU representatives, so don't feel like I'm gonna steer you away from applying to CSUN. And like, no, only apply to us. Nope. Like we're super friendly with one another, so I'm more than happy to provide my contact information if you want to ask me any questions. Let me share this. So in case you want to take a screenshot right now or take a picture, whatever it's easiest for you at home when you're watching this. Email right now is probably the best way to connect with me because part of my role is that as I'm a recruiter as well. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm visiting high schools and community colleges in between these sessions. So I may not pick up the phone when you call, but heck, you can still call. It's totally fine. I do return my voice messages. It may not be right away. I apologize, but I do return my voice messages. Otherwise, email me because I do answer my emails in between my visits. Or you can even set up a virtual meeting with me. That is my calendar link if you want to do that. And yeah, ask me any questions about our campus, about another CSU. Maybe you want to find out more about another campus, what it's like at that particular campus. Or if you want to connect with someone there, want to learn more about any events they're hosting, or if they're visiting your high school, I'm more than happy to help with that. So connect with me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Oh,
Yeah,
yay. I think our last question you already answered, right? Which was about how much time should students allot, and you said 2 hours?
I'd say 2 to 3 hours. Yeah.
Okay. Yay.
So a weekend. Please don't do it last minute. I know something may happen and you will, but if you can control it, don't. Because we see it every year, students applying last minute and they're rushing, and so they fill it out incorrectly, or they have questions and they're kind of connect with one of us. But guess what? We're also busy with other students that applied last minute, so we might not get to you, and there's stress involved in that, right? So, or it's a sophisticated system, but sometimes you never know. What if it crashes or your internet crashes? So, save yourself some stress. I always tell students apply the first month on October. Block yourself 2 to 3 hours, then you're done. And then guess what? You're ready for the UCs and you're ready for the other systems too, or the community colleges. That's like one less application to worry about, so to speak. So, yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for that. We really appreciate you being here.
thank you. Best of luck to everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.